Got it. There we go. Let me present this. Awesome. Can everyone see that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All righty, perfect. So, like I said, my name is Samantha Derosier. I'm going to go into the presentation because it has a little about me in there. There will be interactive portions of this, so feel free to unmute yourself or comment in the Zoom comment section. So the title of this presentation is The Importance of Understanding SEO as a Small Business Owner. This is kind of your table of contents. So we'll go through the introduction of me and my company, what we do, marketing and how that's not just ads, SEO, which I like to jokingly refer to as the secret language of the search algorithm. The two main types of SEO, and then I've also thrown in a couple other bonus types. Expectation management for what you can expect going into a partnership with a SEO company or any marketing company. And then kind of what your options are going forward, some key takeaways. And then because I have a number of doctorate friends who would skin me alive if I don't include references for all of the things I talk about, you do have a page for references. And these slides will go out to everyone after the recording has been concluded so that you can look and, check my sources, read up on more things yourself, and just, have that good due diligence. The other unique thing about this presentation is there's going to be interactive slides. So this will either be you commenting or unmuting and kind of shouting out some answers. That will be indicated by this green little box on the left bottom corner. And there will be a rough time estimate for how much time you have to utilize. So who is Sam? I'm a lot of things. First and foremost, a marketing strategy specialist. I started my company because of the issues that I saw within marketing for small businesses. I'm also the co-owner of a second business called The Ethos, and this is me and my business partners in front of our building down in Pueblo, Colorado. It was formerly called the Grand Prix Restaurant and Lounge, and we're turning it into a creative community space, event hall, artist and maker space, and sober bar. I am also a very athletic and adventurous person. I mainly bike and run. That's me and my partner at the Denver Century Ride, where I biked 50 miles and he biked 100 because he's more crazy than I am. And then the other picture is a run club here in the Denver metro area called Pitch and Run. That's for the startup community. And that's one of our group photos. Feel free to message me later if you're interested in joining. We meet Fridays at 8. And then last and certainly not least, I'm a dog mom to Raptor, who you might find in this video if he decides to show himself, but he tends to be pretty lazy right now. But going into my business, Sword and Spark, I saw three main problems. So one of the problems with small business owners is that they were not necessarily trusting of a lot of the SEO or marketing services out there. And there were also questionable SEO and marketing practices. And we'll go into kind of what the difference between those two is. It goes into long-term versus short-term gains. And unfortunately, a lot of times people will want to do the things that give them quick returns right away. And that doesn't always work in the long term, especially when the algorithms change because they are more likely to cater to the businesses and the websites that use the core fundamentals of what Google and other search algorithms will want on their website. So some of the current solutions that Sword and Spark offers right now is an SEO and website audit reports, consulting educational services similar to this. I also do fractional CMO services more in the startup world, but that's basically everything from process creation, documentation, and handoff. I also do strategy, both roadmaps and templates, local referrals to specialized marketing professionals, a couple of which are on this call today. And then I also mentor and train junior talent. So if a small business owner if a small business has a intern or a social media person that they pulled out of college and they just want to make sure that they're doing things correctly and to best practices, then that's where I can kind of step in and help be a guide for them. So marketing, it's not just advertising. It is a lot of things. It's actually, my favorite thing about marketing is that it's a mix of psychology, sociology, economics, and art all together. And those are just some of my favorite things. And one of my other favorite things is the small businesses. But one of the hardest things that I have, or the hardest times I have convincing, is that marketing is actually an investment. It's not, gone are the days of putting a coin in and getting a thing out for marketing. It is continuing to evolve between the different social media platforms that come up. Now we have the metaverse. There's so many things that change, and your marketing needs to change with it. And if it doesn't, then you will be left behind and your competitors will unfortunately go ahead of you. So when you talk about marketing, one of the things I like to make sure that my clients have an understanding of is a marketing agency. I spend some time both working in an agency and on what's called the client side, so for a business. And a marketing agency has roughly 7 core departments within it. You've got account services, which is the people you will interact with. So when you're doing sales, or when you're talking to a sales rep, they're more than likely within account services. But there's 6 other sections in a marketing agency that you may not be aware of. And so they are the media buying and planning. So that would be placing a billboard in downtown Denver next to the Performing Arts Center, or along the highway, or wrapping a public bus in whatever your logo is or that campaign. Those are all media buying and planning, and that's both traditional, which is something that is tangible that you can see, and digital as well, which is the website ads or the pop-ups or the different things that come up online. You also have finance and budgeting, which is pretty self-explanatory. Creative design. So those are going to be the people who make the pretty logos and the ads and things like that. Now, copywriting is completely separate, because copywriting is the words that are used to promote your brand. This can be the things that are on your website for sure, and they have to work very closely with your creative and design team. But they should be separated, unless you have a couple unicorns that can do both. But the other things are technical SEO and web development, a lot of what I do, and then production, video, and photo. Sometimes you'll get a graphic designer who's also a photographer and a videographer, but not often are they both. And I bring this up because a lot of small businesses that approach me want a Jack or Jill of all trades. And then I have to point to this and say, but there are 7 or more different departments in an agency. How can you expect one person to be able to do all of these things? And the reality is you really shouldn't, because if they're good at all of these things, you have to question how good they are. So that's why I try to help businesses go from doing all the marketing themselves to being able to hire a full stack agency or grow their own team. And we do that through sourcing different vendors who specialize in different areas, or even hiring on a W-2 basis for that company the people that can fulfill these different roles that are needed to market your business. So, and I do apologize, I speak really fast. Hopefully it's not turning anyone off, but I've got a lot of content to go through that I want to share with you all. And there is going to be an interactive section here in a moment. So one of my favorite quotes about what marketing is from the New York Times. It's the art of telling stories so enthralling that people lose track of their wallets. And so my question in this interactive section for you is, have you ever been so bought into a brand that you want to say yes to whatever they are doing or whatever price they are asking for? And feel free to unmute and mention a brand. One of my favorites is Patagonia. I don't know if you've been following along with their most recent news, but the owner recently gave away his company for the world, for Mother Earth. And they formed a nonprofit specifically to try and improve the global climate change issues and things around that. So they're one of those brands that I greatly respect and enjoy.
Rolex.
Rolex. Why?
When you look deep into their story, one, it's absolutely fascinating because they're a trust. They're not almost even a for-profit organization, number one. Number two, some of the glass they use on some of their watches is so difficult to make that they don't even bother getting a patent on it because nobody else can do it. That alone, and there's 700 other things, that alone to me is so fascinating that their commitment to quality is that high. And the resale value is ridiculous. Like it's a piece of nothing that holds value more so than any other piece in the whole industry. So for those reasons, and they have their own foundry and they have all this other, they use a steel that is hard to work with because it looks better. All those bits and pieces of their story. If I have the money, I'm like, here, take it.
Absolutely. That's great. One more example. I see someone put iPhone, and I am not an iPhone person, but my partner is. And yes, you did just get the new one. So I do know that trope and that kind of brand loyalty there. Anything else? No? All right. Awesome. Well, next, let's go into the reason you're here, SEO. So as I joked before, I like to call it the secret language of the search algorithm. We're going to go into exactly what it is, what it can cost you, and then what you can do yourself. So what is SEO? The practice of increasing both the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. So that's a way to tell you that essentially search algorithms, I'm going to refer to collectively as the algorithm, they want to benefit their clientele, and their clientele are the searchers. And so whatever you can do to make the people who are searching's lives easier, that's what the algorithm cares about. And so if you are using the same language that people are using to search, if you are using the same type of terminology for specific industries, for instance, if you are in the medical professional or the scientific community, you will use actual scientific terms when you're searching for things, and then the algorithm will know that you are looking for science-heavy information on that. Whereas a layperson may search, dinglehopper, whatever, the lay term for a specific thing is, that terminology is going to get you different results. And so the words that people are searching and the words that you put on your website and your social media content, those matter because that is directly driving back to the search intent of the users using the algorithm platforms. So other quick question, and these are quick shout outs. What do you think will affect your website's SEO ranking? Does anyone have any clue?
Jargon.
Jargon. Yeah. I see keywords in the comments. Anything else? No? All right.
Link backs, track backs, or whatnot.
Backlinks, yes.
Backlinks.
Backlinks can affect it for sure. Mm-hmm.
How much traffic you've already had.
Absolutely. How much traffic you already have.
Website content.
Content, for sure, for sure. And there's one really big one that once I tell you, everyone's going to be like, oh, duh.
Is it copywriting?
Nope. That's
Okay.
not the big one, but that is important.
Okay.
Yeah. How about page speed? How many people will bounce if the page doesn't load in less than 3 seconds? Almost everyone. And that's what the studies show too. So the speed of which your website loads or the content on your website loads, that's super important too. So going into specifics, so one of the hard things about SEO is that the algorithm platforms like Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc., they will never tell us directly the weights of individual things. So, this has a 30% weight, this only has a 5, whatever, because they want you to do all of it. They're not going to tell you their secret sauce because then their competitors will copy their secret sauce. But some of the top 10 things that are important for SEO rankings, according to a number of SEO specialists that were surveyed in the industry, is the secure website. In fact, just last September or this September, Google put out a section in their Search Console that prioritizes HTTPS, which is the secure site. So when you have the little basically padlock on your web browser, meaning that it has a secure certificate and it's hosted by a secure DNS server, those are being prioritized when it comes to SEO. So if you are still operating on an HTTP, which is an unsecure website, that is priority number one when you leave this webinar, is go get a security certificate and make sure that that is taken care of. And because Google is coming down really hard on that in recent years. And so that's one of the big things. Like I said, page speed, mobile friendliness, domain age, authority, content, technical CEO, which we'll go into in a little bit, user experience, backlinks, social signals, which is that bounce rate or how long people stay on your website, and then keywords that match search intent. Those are kind of high level, a lot of the things you should be thinking about when it comes to SEO for your business. I also see someone in the comment section put tags, and there has been interesting development with changing for Google's universal tags. They just upgraded to universal, I think 4 tags, and the old tags will be going away at the end of this year. So that is another important thing, but that's kind of Google centric. If you're doing just a website for all algorithms, then just these basics are kind of high to prioritize, and each one will have its own tags as well. So next, keyword research. So this one, and I apologize, I already forgot your name, but the chiropractor on this call, well, this is a rhetorical question. Does keyword research matter? Yes, it does. For the chiropractor on this call,
it's Carrie Lynn.
Carrie.
She was,
So
yeah.
I had a chiropractor client, and they came to me to kind of revamp their website, fairly new. And what I did was a keyword analysis, so trend analysis. And you can see in the pretty graphs there, the terms chiropractor versus chiropractic. And it was very interesting to see that people in the Denver metro area specifically, in most areas, are searching for chiropractic more than they are searching for chiropractor. And when you start to get nerdy and go into the data and the relevant search terms around that, you start to understand that chiropractor is usually searched by people in the industry who are looking for other chiropractors or furthering their chiropractor, their education in chiropractic services. Chiropractic is usually paired with chiropractic services. And so people are usually looking for someone to crack my back, to, adjust whatever. And they are looking specifically for chiropractic versus chiropractor. And so just that one tidbit of truth from the research basically helped us show a lot of great results, but also just tweaking the language and the copywriting on their website to say more of chiropractic versus chiropractor. That helped boost their SEO rankings in their targeted keywords with their targeted market group. So that algorithm language, it keeps changing. One of the factors is because the world changed, the way that your consumers search for things and are trying to find whatever online changes. There's a lot more voice search now, or hey, and I apologize, the A word, Alexa or Siri or whatever, hey, whatever, how do I whatever? That is becoming more common in search terms. And so people are actually starting to optimize content for voice search, utilizing the keywords of Alexa, Siri, Google, whatever. And so that's been really interesting to see coming out in the world. But a quick overview of the algorithm changes, the really important ones happened in 2012 and 2011. That was Panda and Penguin. Essentially, one of them punished what's called black and gray hat players in the SEO field. So for those who are more techie and understand the different ways to kind of hack systems, the black and gray ones are the less ethical ones. There's white hat, which is more ethical, and then that's a whole nother thing I won't go into. Anyway, also the other update that really pushed forward was penalizing poor or thin content. So essentially, people who were starting to make content that was just copy paste, that wasn't original, that didn't have any user intent research behind it, putting those types of content players down in the search algorithm rankings. So a number of sites came up around the 2010 era that were focused on kind of resharing information that was already out there, and they were getting ranked high, and then people were starting to look there, but then the original creators weren't getting the traffic that they should have for coming up with the ideas and writing the original content. And so that was a pretty good change. Unfortunately, it did hurt a lot of small businesses that may have been using less fundamental techniques of SEO or different content writing styles that used a lot of copy paste. But a lot of people kind of learned from that Google is starting to push forward the quality more and more. And it's finding the players in the industry that are not necessarily doing the best for their customers and for website traffic. I'm sure everyone's seen a lot of phishing emails or spammy websites that just kind of pop up and disappear. Google is trying really hard to crack down on that, and those algorithm updates were a big part of that. Most recently, like I mentioned in this September, is the HTTPS report and Search Council. So this is prioritizing those with a secure website. Another big change that happened this last September is merchant and product listing reporting for e-commerce sites specifically. So if you have an e-commerce site and you are not utilizing different tags to basically tell the search algorithm what your product is about, that is becoming a lot easier to do in Search Console now. And last but certainly not least is people first content prioritization. And so I had mentioned before how the thin content was penalized because it was just copy paste. Well, a lot of people shifted from copy paste to basically keyword packing, which is where you figure out what people are searching in the industry and you write content specifically so that you rank for those keywords, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just when it becomes too robotic. I'm sure many of us have gone on websites and we've read something and you're like, is this even supposed to be English? Like, what are they trying to say here? Because they're packing keywords and keyword phrases into there that most humans will be like, what are you saying? Like, so they are prioritizing with their most recent update people and businesses who are writing content with the people first in mind. And so this is really important as you create content both on social media and on your own website, making sure that you have content that is approachable to whichever your community is, whether it's the layperson or the expert community, making sure that your keyword research backs that up, but also that it's written in a way that is consumable for individuals, not for just an algorithm. And so that's kind of one of the main changes that happened there. Now, going into types of SEO, so there are two main types. You have on-page and off-page. On-page is basically how your website is built, how it is linked together, the keyword that you can optimize, so like chiropractor versus chiropractic, and then any content within that page that you've created that you have complete control over. And then off page, that's everything outside of your website. So this would be backlinks to other blog article writers or partner organizations that you have. You also have something that's called a spam score. So all of those backlinks that you have, each website that you're linking to has what's called a domain authority. So how trustworthy they are. It's kind of like a credit score for websites. Essentially, if you have a lot from low domain authority, you will have a higher spam score because they don't know if the content is valid, if it is, checked, if it's just being popped up real quick, like one of those spammy sites, and then it goes away. So that will affect your website's domain authority because the more spammy links that you gather, the more likely Google will target you as a spammy website. The other things are aggregate sites, and then of course your social media marketing. Aggregate sites are things like Yelp. So if you are a restaurant, you more than likely have a Yelp listing. Whether or not you created it, it exists there. And that's what's called an aggregate site. So there are multiples of those types of sites across all industries and across all sectors. And the more succinct the information across those sites are, and the bet as long as they reflect what's on your website, then you're good to go. If you changed your address halfway through your business and then Yelp says one address and Angie's list says another, but then your website says a completely different one, your SEO ranking will get diminished from that, because the algorithm can't tell if that's right or if that's right, and it's not going to call you and ask. You have to go in and fix those yourself, because it's your business. It's the SEO for your business will be affected by that. And then the two bonus ones is going to be local and technical SEO. Now, not going into the weeds, you will get these slides afterwards, but essentially local SEO are things like Yelp or Google My Business. It's for a physical location or a store, whether that be a restaurant, a service provider, a boutique shopping center, whatever it is. If you have a location that people go to, that can be affected by local SEO. And so you'll see on some websites, when they're trying to optimize for local SEO, they'll put plumber near me in their website, and you're just like, well, that's weird. Why would they do that? Like, maybe they're not near me, but they're doing that to try and rank for that specific term on Google or on whatever algorithm platform. And so when you see those near me or things like that, or location specific language, more than likely they're trying to target that specific market, or come up for those keywords. Technical SEO, that's going to be the really nerdy parts of your website. So this will be like minifying your code, so making it smaller, compressing images on your website so that they load faster, things that you really should be talking with a programmer or software engineer about. Yes, other people can do it as well, but they may not be as up to speed on all of the things that you can do, because it changes so much. All right. No, I'm running close on time. I'm going to make it though. Expectation management. So what should I be paying for this? What kind of return can I expect? And kind of why, what to expect here. So how long before results? So quick, either in the comments or shout it out. How long or how many months do you think it takes to see results from SEO?
6 months.
6 months. Okay. If I see 4 months in the chat, I see 6 months, I see 2 weeks. Oh no, that's very wrong. So 4 to 6 months is kind of what I'm seeing. 2 to 3 months. Okay, those are pretty low. On average, and this is actually according to Google's platform, 4 to 12 months. I've seen as many as 18 months for you to see a return. Because think about it this way. How many websites are there on the web? No idea. Infinity. These algorithms are searching through every single one of them. Why would they prioritize looking at yours when you changed one thing or you changed something there, when there's gazillions of other ones to look at, right? So it takes a while for these algorithms to what's called re-index your site. So basically search it again and figure out what's on it, and then put that into their databases to serve up content to their users. So if you get results in 2 weeks, that person's probably using black hat or gray hat methodology. I wouldn't trust them. I would be asking very pointed questions about what it is they're doing to give you results in 2 weeks. But for quality SEO, you really should be looking at the 4 month or 12 month mark. I usually say 6 to 18 months, just because that it changes. Like there's so many variables. If you're doing a major website change, or if you're doing a minor one, like so much goes into this, that you shouldn't be expecting results really quickly. So what kind of results can you expect? So again, for the chiropractor on here, this was my client that I worked with for over a year. At the beginning of the time working together, we were looking at the certain keywords that he was currently ranking for. So that's chiropractor near me, Mile High Sports, chiropractor Denver, and all of the other ones. You can see which, what number of searches they are ranking for in the next panel there. And we basically 5x'd the chiropractor Denver and the chiropractor. So you can completely shift the language that you use on your website and how many searches you're getting to your website. From that, you can also see, how many people are looking for you on search versus maps. So this is specific for people with a geographic location. If they are looking for you on maps, they're probably going to drive to your store or to your restaurant, whatever. And you can kind of see the results of how that changes and how it can change. And these are pretty phenomenal results, I must say. And I'm not trying to boost, my self-esteem or anything, but this business that I worked with, they basically started from, I think roughly 4 or 5 months, they were doing it all on their own. So they just hadn't made a lot of the improvements that early businesses need to make to be able to rank and have these kind of search things come up. So us working together for a year after that, it kind of all exploded. Like for instance, so this is directly from the Google My Business page. When we started working together over the length of 1 quarter, so for 3 months, they had about 10 interactions on their Google My Business profile. That jumped to over 500 after we revamped the website, worked on content, kind of finesse things so that they were reaching the correct audience. So those are types of results that you can get is traffic and search, but I don't know that I would hold anyone else to these standards because that was a very unique type of business. And then how much does it cost? So of course it depends. If you are a big business, if you are serving only one market versus multiple, but on average, you should be looking to spend at over $500 a month. And that's at a minimum. And the hourly rate, if they do hourly rate, is anywhere from 100 to 300. Your average plan costs, around $3,000 for SEO specifically. But remember, SEO is not the only thing you should be doing in your marketing. So if you look at those numbers and are like, oh, I can't do any of that, that's fine. Maybe SEO is not something you focus on right now, or maybe you just you focus on it, next quarter once you have enough revenue. It's prioritizing what is important and what matters to you and your business, and making sure that you pay for quality. There are multiple companies out there that will get you to the first page of Google within 3 months for $1,000 a month. Well, they're probably using unethical techniques. So make sure you pay attention to, kind of industry standards. And these are not Sword and Spark prices. This is based off of Search Engine Journal and Outer Box Designs, their analysis of other SEO providers. So these are kind of the things industry-wide to expect. And then going forward. So now what? What is the takeaway from all of this? I know I didn't talk about it too much, but I am a marketing strategist. So do have to say that you lead with your strategy. And yes, SEO should be a part of that. That keyword research should inform the way that you talk to your audience, but also you need to know who your brand is and make sure that that is being put forth. The mission and the vision is your why, and the strategy is your how. And SEO needs to be a part of that strategy because that is your digital presence. So how you present yourself online matters a whole lot, just like how you present yourself on video. If I was in a sweatshirt and slacks, you might not take me quite as think of me as professional as if I'm in a business top. So all of that matters. And then other things you can do yourself. So I realize that SEO is a big topic. Yes, technically you could do it yourself, but also, do you really want to spend hours researching what the latest algorithm update is and how that affects Search Console and all of those other things? So that's kind of why I like to fill that gap for small businesses is, I can sift through like what is and isn't good. I can help educate you on kind of the basics, the research for certain keywords, technical audits on your site, And then of course, quality content. Other things, and I know we're running out of time and I want to leave a bit of time for Q&As, but making sure your marketing is effective, making sure that you are utilizing content in multiple forms. Joyce and I were just talking before this started of, can I get the video afterwards? Because I want to take snippets of it and be able to promote that on my different social media channels. Like you do a big piece of content and then you pull pieces from it so that you can make it more efficient. Social media, same kind of thing, making sure that it's relevant, making sure you measure and track it, all of those good things. And then last, but certainly not least, like I said before, the content that you create online helps you build trust with your online consumers. And it's kind of like dating. You're not going to go into a first date and say, hey, will you marry me? You need to build that trust. You need to build that rapport with the person and help them understand what your business does, why they should care that you do it, all of those great things. And like I said, references. And that is my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was a lot of great content. I know we're very short on time, but real quick, any questions from anyone?
And before we go to questions, I just want to say, let's give her a big round of applause. 'Cause that was amazing. It was chock full of information. And the recording will be up within 48 hours. I have all your emails, so I will personally email you then, in a group email, the link to the YouTube recording, the Zoom on YouTube then, and her slide deck as well. And if you need to leave, I know we're about at the hour and we advertise going for an hour, that's fine. But those that have questions for Sam, let's just go ahead and I'll stop the recording, I think, at this point then.
I've got a question, Sam.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gia.
And you do a quick introduction because I think you came on a little bit late.
Yeah, I came on a little bit late.